asking, what is a brand identity or a style guide? So ultimately, it is kind of a reference or manual that contains all of the information related to the various elements of your brand. It allows your employees, your content contributors, and even third-party vendors to kind of follow this somewhat of a how-to guide to ensure that they are consistently representing your brand in the way that it was originally intended to be represented. And while it may not be absolutely necessary for smaller businesses where, maybe that responsibility for brand messaging rests with just one or two or so people, we definitely recommend that you take the time to create it, even if it's a basic or simple one, just so that it will be referenceable and available as your company grows. And now let's talk about what this would typically look like. So first, is a brand writing and messaging guide. And it really includes the brand messaging framework, talks about that brand voice and tone and provides guidance around that. And then it can also use any specific grammar or formatting approaches that should be followed. And by grammar, we really talk about, sometimes organizations, even the basics of speak to products or solutions or services in a certain way. You want to note those if there are some points of consistency that are really, really critical to communicate. The examples here are from Salesforce and Malwarebytes, but you'll find these kind of across the world. If you do some Google searches, you can find some samples if you would like to reference those. And then the second part is that visual component of the experiential brand components. And that really shows how to kind of display, print, or position the elements that we reviewed in our last session. And those were the logo. So you want to talk about kind of usage or any variations on the logo. It'll talk about the font or fonts that should be used. And it will get really specific here about, which fonts you would use online for your headings and your subheadings or your body copy. And the same thing for in print and, what the formatting might look like. It can even get down to paragraph spacing, little details like that, minimum font sizes. You can really go crazy with this if you want to. And especially as organizations get larger, you'll find that they get much more detailed on the specifics because there are more people involved in maintaining that brand. And having that level of detail is just so valuable for consistency. And then you can see on the right-hand side, it will also include that color palette, primary colors being the ones that are used consistently and dominantly in the organization. And then the secondary colors, which would be used in certain treatments. And in some organizations, they also kind of clarify when you use primary colors, when you use secondary colors, and even when or if you can use variations on those colors. And what I mean by that is maybe scaled back at 50%, so it's more muted than the original color.